Thanks so much for joining us. We have got the beautiful Catherine Bell joining us this morning again, back in our Google Plus Hangout, kind of a behind the scenes look at what we do here at the Fox 11 Newsroom. We would like to introduce you, Catherine, to some of the people that are hanging out with us here.
Hello.
Ayub is in England.
Hi.
Drew is here in the Valley,
Hello.
Blackhampton in Canada. Kim
Hi,
is
Catherine.
in Kansas City. Michael
Hello.
is in Australia this morning.
Good morning.
Nick is in Dallas. And
Hello.
Trev is also in the UK. And we do have a bunch of people watching us on air right now. So I want to say hi to you. If you have any questions for Catherine, just get them to me or anyone in the Hangout here, and we will get it to her. So, Catherine, you are here talking about the show you're on right now. Of course, it's Army Wives.
Right.
And for those who are not familiar with the show, can you tell us a little bit about your character and the show as well? Shaka, can you do me a quick favor and turn off, thank you, little business.
No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, I play Denise Sherwood on Army Wives. I am an Army wife, and basically the show's changed a lot over the years. I started out as a woman who was being abused by her son.
Her son?
Her son. You thought,
Oh,
in the
wow.
very first episode, you thought it was her husband, and it turns out it was her teenage son, and she gets through that and turns her life around and goes back to school, becomes a nurse, and then a nurse practitioner, and really becomes strong and kind of comes into her own, figures out what she wants in her life and who she is. And now she's sort of the one who takes care of everyone else.
Okay. Which season are we in now?
We are at the end of season 7.
Wow, you have this thing about you because you were on JAG. How many seasons was?
I was on 9. The show was on
9
for
seasons.
10 years. Yes,
Wow,
I
and
know.
you have the magic touch
Aw.
when it comes to shows.
Thank you.
That's
I'm
not
very,
you.
very fortunate.
Very. Wow. Do you guys have any questions for Catherine? Or shall we start with Ayub? Yes, go ahead.
I was just wondering. I mean, you have so among your hobbies listed, things that you enjoy is kickboxing.
Yes.
I'm wondering whether you've actually had a chance to use that in one of your roles.
I have, actually. Not in my life, fortunately, but I have in many roles. Denise Sherwood's probably the first woman I've played who does not do kickboxing or carry a weapon or something like that. So that's fun. I love playing those sort of action.
Well, it's only
hero women.
season 7.
Yeah,
so
maybe next year.
maybe
I did
next
actually
season.
have to kill someone last season,
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh.
Shoot him in the chest, but
Drew, yes? I think you have kind of a backstory, don't you?
Yeah, sure. I guess you saw that comment. Catherine, we actually met at Marina Del Rey when we moved in with Jason and Leslie. You were moving out, and we took your spot.
that house?
Adam. And it was so nice. You were married at that time. I see on your Twitter that you're wife extraordinaire. You're such a great career, but somehow you're out of the tabloids, and you're married and focused on that. How do you get to make that decision? Why is that important to you?
I'm actually
focused on your family as opposed to all the tabloids.
I'm not married anymore, but Adam and I are still great friends. But yeah, I managed to stay out of the tabloids just by, I don't know, just being a good girl, I guess. My kids and my family and my hobbies, and I just go to work and try to do a good job at work. And
But it is kind of a tricky thing dealing with the paparazzi and the tabloids, right?
It is.
As a celebrity.
It is, and sometimes they'll follow you around, or you want a little bit of that. Obviously, you want to stay, I guess, have people be aware of you and stay current, but you just don't have to be crazy to get attention, I guess, is probably the key.
I like that story that Drew mentioned that back in the day before everything happened and all the success. But I always like to ask about your journey in making it in this business, because it does, it takes work, right?
Yeah.
If you had some advice for anyone watching, because there are some people who are watching who are interested in getting into acting and directing in this field, well, how would you advise them?
It is a lot of hard work and persistence. I think people don't realize that, once in a while someone will say, oh, you're so lucky. I'm like, yeah, you know what?
You worked hard.
I worked hard for like 10 years before I really started working consistently. So it's luck is sort of being prepared when the right opportunity comes along.
10 years.
I say just persist. If you really want to do it, just keep at it.
Be patient. Yes. Kim, yes, go ahead.
Question I have: I am a big fan of the Good Witch series, and I see that you were executive producer for some of them. Am I correct?
Yeah.
How was it acting and producing at the same time?
Oh, great. I actually love doing that. Something I've always wanted to do is just either finding the project or just being involved in the creative process. Not so much directing, it's not something that's ever appealed to me, but producing and finding the right people to, the director and the writer, and really just figuring out the story that you want to tell and communicating that.
Okay. Did I miss anyone's question? Kempton, go ahead.
Yeah, Catherine, can you talk about your process? How do you get into a role, and do you try to add something, your special touch into every role that you work, or you go with the script writers, go by the script?
Yeah, you know what? Every time I get a new role, it's always exciting. It's always a little bit scary, like at first until I figure out who the person is. Like, okay, what am I going to do with this role? And as I start approaching the start date, I go, okay. But it's like, I don't know, it's just sort of like an outfit. You put it on and you start to wear it and you start to feel more comfortable in it. And, oh, okay, maybe she walks this way, or maybe she talks a little different, or maybe, I've worked with different acting coaches, and one woman always said, find the center of that person. Some people, their center is like in their belly, and some it's more in their head, and that kind of helps me ground the person. And it's just a matter of like, okay, what does she wear? How does she walk? What's her history? Finding all those things.
You've played this character now for 7 seasons. Do you think you've peeled all the layers to who she is? Are you discovering new parts of her?
Oh, I think you always discover more. Yeah, but TV is interesting because you get a chance to just keep finding those layers and uncovering as you go. And I find that on a TV character, you become more of that person, or they become a little more of you.
I was going to say, how does that who you really are?
Probably because you're working every day and you're so tired every day. And at 5 o'clock in the morning, I think the character becomes more you.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Unless you're Dexter, that would be a different story.
Really bad.
Ayub, yes, go ahead. What's your question?
Just as a follow-on to that, I mean, have there ever been any changes to any of your characters? I mean, in JAG or in this series, that you've felt didn't fit and you had to kind of fight back on?
Once in a while it does happen. And if you're not a producer, you don't have too much say. You can communicate, hey, I don't think this is right for my character, but they don't always listen. But hopefully you have a good relationship when they do. I know Denise Sherwood, my character on Army Wives, had an affair at one point, and I really didn't want her to. I just felt like that's not who she is, and the relationship with her husband was not that way. And so they actually listened to me, and we didn't have the affair, and then they brought in another character, and then I did have an affair. I lost that battle. But, there's a lot of battles I've won where I've communicated that I don't think it was the character, and they listen sometimes.
Sometimes they do, right? Now, have you had a lot of relationships, or have you talked with people who really are in the Army over the years, and specifically military families? Yes.
Oh, it's been amazing. We have so much support from military families.
Is there something that would surprise us that you have sort of found out about military families that maybe those of us who aren't? I mean, especially in this time of our lives, and we're the military. My God, they do so much for us. Not just our soldiers and servicemen and women, but the wives and the children, the sacrifices that they're making. Just incredible.
I'm so proud of our show for just representing that side. You see a lot of the other kind of action movies or roles where you see the military, but to actually see the family and the support that they provide. They're very strong men and women and families. I am just blown away how strong they are. They hold down the fort. They don't think about the fact that their spouse is in danger or whatever.
Sometimes they don't see them for a year. It's just so incredible.
We were just talking about how much we travel in our business, but it's for a week or two or a couple months, Put
it into perspective, right?
Pretty incredible people.
Do we have time for more questions? Okay, one more. Okay, you got the Kempton question, Kim, then I have the last one.
Okay, quick question. You've played a lot of militant or strong women. How did you prepare for that? And also, what are you doing in your off time to relax from having those strong roles?
Well, when I was first starting out in this business, female action heroes were sort of the new thing, and that's when I started doing kickboxing classes. And I've always been a tomboy, so I've always ridden motorcycles and like race cars and gone to the shooting range and shot guns. But I kind of just like, okay, this could be a good way into the business. And sure enough, my first big movie was a Dolph Lundgren action movie where I played a female mercenary. So it worked, and then I just kind of kept up with that. And I still, I'm learning to fly a helicopter now and all kinds of different
Wow,
crazy things.
that's
I'm a little
you're always
wild.
preparing yourself for whatever comes up.
Yeah.
I'm more intrigued about your tattoos.
Oh, yes.
Are you okay to describe them a little bit and tell us their meaning? Yeah.
That is,
Wow.
this is my son's name in an ancient Celtic alphabet called Ogam.
Oh,
It's
okay.
actually read this way, so it's, I don't know if you can see it there, Ronan.
A Ronin.
Ronan,
Yeah.
and this is Gemma, my daughter's name, in
Oh, wow.
ancient Persian, so it's Gemma.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It is. It's beautiful. I mean,
Thank you.
it's different and unique and beautiful.
Aw,
As are you. Katherine Bell, thank you so much for
Thank you.
hanging back out with us here
absolutely. Thank you all.
in our Google Plus
Thanks.
Hangout. Don't forget, Army Wives is on which night?
It's on Sunday nights on
Sunday nights,
Lifetime.
on Lifetime, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and June 2nd and June 9th is our finale.
It's coming up. So you guys check it out when you have time. Army Wives. Thank you.
Thank you.
Will you take a quick photo with us before you
Of
go?
course,
Okay,
yes.
here's our camera. Wait,
Oh.
stop. Okay, 1, 2, 3, cheers. Yay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Dr.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.